Hello everyone and welcome to our Tech and R, Matterport, break free of the traditional with 3D virtual home tours. I'm Susan Harrison, Exit Realty's Senior Vice President Corporate Communications, and I'll be moderating this session. If you haven't done so already, please dial into the audio portion of the call using the phone number that was emailed to you or listen in using your computer speakers. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please type them into the question box on your GoToWebinar pane and we'll do our best to address them. Today's session is being recorded. So how do you differentiate your marketing efforts from other agents in your community? Today, Exit Realty's VP of Technology Engagement, Annette Anthony, is going to introduce you to Matterport's 3D virtual home tours and talk with an Exit Realty broker owner who will share his top tips for using this technology to set himself and his listings apart from the competition. Annette?
Thank you so much, Susan, and everyone, thank you for joining us today. All right, I'm going to show my screen. Here we go. Thank you so much. You know, the buzz is out there on Matterport, but yet many still have questions about today's conversation, and we want to help you understand what it is, how to use it, and how it can help you get more listings by being on the cutting edge of technology. Matterport is an immersive media technology company building 3D media solutions that power industries from real estate to entertainment and everywhere in between. Matterport was founded in 2011, and they are truly changing the way individuals and industries interact with physical spaces. Matterport is the first end-to-end media platform that allows users to easily create, to modify, navigate, and build on digital representations of real places. Now, in just a moment, Timothy Schutte is going to share how he's using it in his real estate brokerage, but you're going to soon discover that the uses for Matterport are absolutely endless. Now, at the recent Inman Connect conference in New York, multiple real estate mavericks were discussing their use of this breakthrough 3D media technology in their real estate business. As a result, their success in getting more listings and putting more buyers in homes attributed to being first in their market to use this technology. What happened was they were starting to create critical separation from competitors. Now, their traditional listing sites, like many others, they have a gallery of photos, they have floor plans, 360 panoramas, and videos showcasing the home. The top producers on stage at Inman said that they added a 3D virtual showcase, creating a fully immersive buyer experience, that this was an immediate wow factor to their buyers. And if you've ever viewed a home in 3D, it's like unlike anything else. This interactive photo experience is the most engaging way to show a property. And this made all their sellers equally happy because the home was always open for immersive viewing. Another caveat is that busy buyers at their convenience can experience the homes they're interested in and easily narrow the list of homes they're seriously interested in viewing in person, which is going to save them hours of time. Think about this. If I was in the market to buy a home, you know, I don't have time to drive around and view several properties narrowed down from a list. Certainly if I'm considering buying a home in another state, right? I travel every week and my husband has a busy schedule. So do you see how consumer behavior is constantly pushing the envelope on evolving technology to solve these real-life challenges? And if you already know that this technology is not for you, listen, it's completely okay. However, educating yourself about what it is very important, because you may be asked by one of your future sellers or buyers, and if this intimidates you, I just want you to rest at ease, okay, because it is not that complicated. The Matterport camera only has one button, okay? It's the on button. So let's quickly review what's needed for your Matterport, use. First of all, the Matterport camera comes with the quick start guide, and it has a charger. You're going to need an iPad, and you'll see the various versions of iPad that you're going to need. You need a tripod. You need your Matterport Capture app and the Matterport Cloud account. One thing, too, that Matterport recommends is, as far as your iPad, they recommend at least 128 gigabytes of total storage space. That's ideal, but no less than 8 gigabytes of free space at all times, okay? Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can start scanning like a pro. First of all, it's important to prepare your space. Do a thorough walkthrough to remove any clutter, just like you would when you're taking photographs, right? You also want to decide if you want to scan with lights on or off to create some consistency throughout the space. And you want to ensure that objects are perfectly still, like ceiling fans. Sometimes we don't think about that. Also windows, if there are, if there's a breeze coming through and there's some sheer, curtains, you want to make sure that everything is as still as possible. Number 2, strategize a walkthrough plan. And by that we mean plan your strategy in advance of how you intend on walking through the entire property for a sense of how your potential buyer might walk through the home. Doing this in advance will prevent you from rushing through your scans. And then number 3, your camera setup. Make sure that your camera is securely, tight on the mount of the tripod. You want to avoid using couple different types of tripods. There's a ball tripod, there's a pan tilt, and the reason we mention that is because those can shift just slightly, which can possibly compromise the quality of your scan. And if you've ever, been ready to take pictures or video and forgot to fully charge your tools, let that be a tip, stated there. Make sure that your iPad and your camera are fully charged. Next, maximize everything. For instance, you want to scan a variety of paths throughout the home, as many as you can, to give your viewers the full 3D experience, especially in areas of interest such as kitchens. In my home, I'm looking at, when you come into our kitchen, there's a couple different ways that you can get in, and that will really give your viewer that full experience. You want to certainly include key places like bathrooms and closets. Complete scans will not only fully inform your buyer on the home, it's going to prevent them from having to call you back and ask you for more details about areas not shown. And it's going to look a lot more complete in the Dollhouse and Floorplan view, which Timothy is going to talk to you about just shortly. And then finally, noting special features. When your scan is complete, you'll see a little mini map. You're going to note your mirrors and your windows on the mini map in the preview before you upload to process your space. This is going to give your future buyer a full sense of the property, and it's going to have much cleaner lines. And you might be thinking, okay, so how long is this going to take to scan an entire property, and do I need to outsource this? Well, a typical property takes about an hour to scan, sometimes longer, and so you definitely want to inform your sellers, right, of what your expectations are when you're going to scan and how long that's going to take. When you're ready to start a scan, just simply connect your iPad to your Matterport Pro 3D camera. The camera hosts its own Wi-Fi network, so you can connect and scan anywhere. The Matterport Capture app stores the depth and the visual data captured by the camera. So you just start scanning. And after you scan each room, a preview map is going to appear on the iPad. That little mini app is where you put in your, where you're going to see where is the best place in the room, where is the best placement to put your camera, your Matterport camera. So you don't have to be a pro It will walk you through the process. You're going to see exactly where the best placement is to get the best possible outcome. After you scan, you're going to just simply indicate the windows and mirrors, and then you're done. When convenient, you just simply want to connect your iPad to the internet and then upload the job. And that's what Matterport does. It's going to process the job. It's going to do the heavy lifting for you. The Matterport cloud, it's going to process the data into a dimensionally accurate 3D model. Now that takes about 1 to 2 hours, but depending on the number of scans and the size of what you're shooting, it could take several hours to process. When done, you can view your model, you can share it, you can use it as a web link or embed it on your website. Now let's talk about the tools you're going to use to actually view these spaces in virtual reality. So the next generation, as we speak of virtual reality, is coming. Today, though, Samsung Gear VR and Google Cardboard are here. Simply just snap your compatible Galaxy smartphone into the Samsung Gear VR, as you see in the picture on your left, or you can insert your iPhone into the Google Cardboard and drive into the 360 experiences. So let's look. I'm going to share with you an infographic on how to open a VR space. So whether you're using the Samsung Gear VR or you're using the Google Cardboard, both need to download, you're going to need to download the Matterport VR app from your mobile device. And as we know, since consumers are primarily searching for real estate on their mobile devices, they can simply click on the Google Cardboard 3D glasses icon as you see circled, or they can click on a link, or they can scan a QR code. And once you start that process, and it's just as easy as flipping the VR headset on or holding the Google Cardboard up to your eyes. Now, what's interesting is that once you have either the Samsung VR goggles on or you've got the Google Cardboard, you can, and you hold it up to your eyes, you can look left, you can look completely around. You can look to your sides, you can look forward, you could even look behind you. As you see down below, you can see there's blue spots. You can move to a new spot just by looking at the blue circles. So I'm sure you've heard of, I can see myself in this home, right? When you have a consumer who's looking at property or they're looking at video, they can picture themselves in that home. Now with virtual reality, they can literally feel as though they're in the home. So this is an experience that can revolutionize your future buyers' experience when looking at your properties. Now, it's our sincere pleasure to introduce to you Timothy Schutte. He's in today's Tech and Art. What I'm really proud of is that he's going to share his recent success with Matterport and how his office is using it to really deliver that wow factor and deliver some success to his brokerage. So with everyone, please join me, Timothy Schutte, on the call. Thank you so much for being here today, Timothy.
Thank you, Annette. Timothy Schutte here. So I'm the broker owner of Exit Realty Capital City in Des Moines, Iowa, and we're looking at how I started with Matterport. So I have a office with about 25 agents in it, and 5 of them are on my personal sales teams. We have 2 listing partners, 2 buyer's agents, and we needed to differentiate ourselves. We've been stuck at about that 100 transaction standpoint, and we want to increase that. So the Matterport, I found the Matterport in convention 2015, I think it was, in Anaheim when the Altman brothers showed up, and it was one of those pieces that's like, video has never really caught on the way I thought it should, and the Matterport I think takes care of that because it's a full immersive experience. So one of the things that happened last year is I bought a 54-unit condo project, and so this building has 11 floors of residential and 5 floor plans. And one of the complications we had with this one was that the 5 floor plans, I have tenants in them that I have to remove a tenant and then I sell the property. but I needed to keep tenants in there to keep cash flow coming in as I sold units. And so I bought a Matterport last summer and started implementing the use of it so that I could show new buyers what those floor plans look like without having to kick out a tenant or something like that right away. And that next slide. So this next slide is what one of the scans looks like from my lobby. So we could take this scan and walk it through and have somebody be able to walk through there either on the computer or on Google Glass and see the details of it before they ever show up to the unit. And next slide in that. This is the basement of a property that we listed. That I brought my laptop to this listing appointment, and I showed them what we could do from showcasing their property. And it's one of those wow factors when you can see and walk through a home from start to finish and see everything in it and not have to really go to that house if they don't have the time for it. Next slide is this slide is the Dollhouse View of that same property. The Dollhouse View is I like to take the JPEG of this and we put it in Facebook, and so people can see the basic invitation of the home and how it operates and works. Next slide, Annette. This is one of the floor plans from the Kirkwood, and this closed last week, and I don't have any other units available of this floor plan until a tenant moves out. So I'm using this as a method to say, hey, here's what these floor plans look like. Would you want one on a different floor of the Kirkwood? And that's been fairly successful. And if you click in, it shows up here to the kitchen. So you could walk all the way through this with the Google or just with the Matterport link and show anywhere and every detail about that property pretty thoroughly. It's a great tool that I've enjoyed using. And it's really helped us get some units sold. So the biggest thing that we've used is Facebook. With any video, we can use a link from Matterport and put it where our virtual tour links are in our MLS instead of using a regular virtual tour, use Matterport. Well, really to get a good amount of traffic out there, we wanted to use and enhance it with Facebook ads. And that's that serious leverage that we were able to use. And I sold 14 units in that building last year and started really using Facebook in November, December. And that got me 3 sales in December, 3 sales in January, and 2 in February from these posts here. So if you see that 7,056 reach with 2,222 post engagements, that is a significant amount from a mere $43. So if you combine those bottom 2 posts, that's $43 of advertising that we spent to get our properties in front of 7,000 people on their Facebook feed. That has increased our traffic, that has increased our activity and our sales. So it all comes through from Facebook, Matterport, and leveraging it. Next slide. So really, we only run these ads. So each one of those for 20 bucks runs from Friday until Sunday, and those are the numbers that we're getting. So the Matterport link, we had a little over 3,300 clicks from, or at least views, and then 207 actual clicks on the Matterport scans for people to look at it. And so I've highly enjoyed it and thought it's been very successful, and have other people reaching out to ask how we're doing this from outside of our own brokerage and community. Top tips. Okay, scans take time. We did a big house that took closer to 3 hours with taking photos and the actual Matterport scan. It takes a little of getting used to because you're putting that camera about every 5 feet and scanning it to make sure that it combines that image the best. If you don't leverage Facebook, how much value is there, because you want to get that out to everybody. The camera's expensive. It's I think it's either $3,900 or $4,500 in the iPad and the tripod, but you want to leverage it the best you can to get the most eyeballs on it and build the brand. So interaction at listing presentations, bring your Google Cardboard. Google Cardboard I think is like $4 or $7 a piece. They're very reasonable to do, and you can let somebody play with it. One listing presentation, I gave it to the kid because the kid was interrupting, so I gave it to the kid, and the kid walked around for 10 minutes so that we didn't have to get interrupted in the rest of the presentation. Much like my Kirkwood unit where we have multiple floor plans, new construction, if you get in a subdivision for new construction, I find a lot of value in the Matterport because the builder builds 5 houses. He sells 2 of them, but he doesn't have the ability to put the next one in yet for weather or a different circumstance. You can walk a buyer through that floor plan that's sold with our Matterport system. I think that's the key to it is reusing it for multiple floor plans from at least my business perspective, because a scan takes time and it does have a little expense to it.
That's great, Timothy. We really appreciate you sharing. You know, in such a short amount of time that you've been implementing the Matterport system, you no doubt have received your return on your investment, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Susan, let's go ahead and bring it up to our attendees on the call. I'm sure some have questions about how Timothy is currently using Matterport. Do we have questions?
We do have questions. First off, I'd just like to remind everybody on the call regarding Facebook advertising. We have a great webinar on the Resource Center and on our YouTube channel on how to do Facebook advertising. So if you want to explore that further and see how Timothy has used Facebook advertising to maximize his efforts on Facebook, then you can certainly look into that. And that when we were at Inman, it was fun to watch people using this technology because they were trying to grab onto things when they had the glasses on, right? It was really strange to watch what an immersive experience it is for people.
Absolutely. You know, it's immersive. You're not just looking at beautiful photography or watching a video. You feel as though you are in that space without having to be in that space. And oftentimes we have our associates, you know, agents in general who are working with buyers, they're out of town, or they're looking at considering a property to purchase from out of state. And to actually put them into the property without physically having to be in that property is amazing in itself that technology has brought us that far. But Susan, to your point, when you're walking through these spaces, I mean, there are people who will hold on to the side of a desk or a table or their chair because they feel, wow, this is incredible, I'm in here. In order to create that separation between yourself and typical agents, giving your consumer an experience that they will never forget, and it starting with you, is really important to do in this time.
Absolutely. Could you please repeat the minimum memory requirements on the iPad? And also, could somebody use a MacBook Pro instead of an iPad, do you know?
You know, you can use a Pro, yes. They recommend 128 gigabytes of total storage space, but again, you don't have to have that much storage. You can, just as long as you have at least 8 gigabytes of free space at all times is important.
Timothy, you're a broker owner. Do you allow your agents to use this technology? If so, how much do you charge them?
So I do, and I have a third party that uses my camera to do our scans and photography for me. In our marketplace, for somebody to do about a 4,000 square foot house, it's about $450. I'm not really looking to make money on it or anything else. I'm kind of using it as an attraction as the franchisee. So I charge, I think, like $200 or $250 a scan for any size house, just because I have 2 motives in that. I want to build the Exit Realty brand here in town. I want to build the brokerage, and I think both of those are selling points.
Right, right. It really sets you apart from the competition, doesn't it, when you can show them what you can do.
Yep.
So when you use the tour on, say, your MLS, how do people know that they need 3D glasses?
You don't need 3D glasses online. You only can use the 3D as if you download the Matterport app, and that's when the glasses are needed. If it's just a computer, you can click on it and scroll through it. I'm sure that I can get people a link to one if they wanted to, so you can experience what it looks like on your TV or your computer screen.
I think that's a really important point because the tours look fine without 3D glasses. Unlike when you go to a movie and you take the glasses off and it's all fuzzy, it looks fine when you're looking at the tour without the glasses, but the experience is so immersive when you put the glasses on, right?
Yes, that's how I would define it, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, our last question for today is, does the tour live on your computer or does it live with Matterport? And what happens if you stop your Matterport account?
It is a cloud-based subscription service, so you have to pay for certain storage with them. So my suspicion is if you close down that account, you're going to lose your scans.
Yeah, and you know, if a Matterport customer decides to stop, you know, the monthly cloud hosting, the links, the embed codes, they will be deactivated, but they do work they work closely with each customer on a case by case with their support team, and if the agent decides or the user of Matterport decides to just completely cancel everything, 2D photos captured from the model will be saved as JPEG files on the computer. So those will definitely stay active. And if you have questions about, you know, the tool, of course you can go to Matterport.com, and I just saw that they had a $900 discount through the end of this month. So if there's an interest, you can look further.
I know when I started it, the camera was $5,000, and I bought it last summer for $4,500, and I think they have a better deal going on for it right now.
Great. Thank you, everybody. I want to give a shout out to the folks at Matterport. Nick and the group there have been so helpful to Annette and to us for putting this Tech and R together. So by all means, go to Matterport.com and take a look at what they have to offer. Thank you, Timothy, and thank you, Annette, and thanks to everybody for joining us today. Keep an eye out for future Tech and R presentations. Bye for now.